sweet ladies, you're welcome back. So when I posted this topic the last time, I got lots and lots of questions underneath that post, and I've been trying as much as I could to answer those questions, but I just felt I should make a video so that I can explain in details all those questions. So we are going to be taking the questions one after the other. All right, so here's the first question. She said, thank you for the video, well understood. Please, my question is, at the upper part of the dress, that is the half length of the back piece, is there any need to remove the ½ inch from the zip allowance before joining the bodice? Yes, the answer is yes. So let me just illustrate the upper bodice of the back. All right, so this is the guideline for the upper bodice, and then this is my zip allowance. You can see I use 2 inches for the zip allowance, the same as I use on the skirt block. So from the guideline, you measure your armhole, then you measure your waist length, and then you extend all the lines. Then at the lower part on the waistline, you will go in by ½ inch so that you can slant the zip allowance so that the back can relax properly. You understand? So just blend it upward the way I've done. I believe we all know this. So when you're done with the zip allowance part, you move back to the guideline, you input your shoulder measurements, and then you roll it straight to the chest line. Then you measure the 3 inches neck width, and then you drop the shoulder by 1. And then you connect these 2 points together, and then you add your zip allowance. After that, you finish off the armhole by placing your French cuff. Then the next thing is to input all your measurements. At the chest line, you put the bust circumference measurements divided by 4 plus your seam allowance of 2 inches. Then on the waistline, you input the waist circumference measurement divided by 4 plus your dart, 1 inch dart, and then 2 inches seam allowance. Then you connect the points together. Then you can input the neckline. Ensure the neckline width is equal with what you use in front. Then the depth of the neckline depends on your preference. Then after that, you can go ahead and cut it out. Don't forget to notch your dart position. So Adefunke, hope I've answered your question. Your answer is yes, and you can see I've illustrated to you the back upper bodice is slanted at the zip allowance with ½ inch. So moving on, here is the next question. She said, I have taken the front seat. Thanks for the tutorial and all you do. My question is there any need to replace the 1 inch you remove at the waist at the side seam? The answer is no. I did not remove 1 inch at the waistline. Rather, I remove ½ inch. I only remove ½ inch at the waistline, and I did not replace the ½ inch I took in. And again, even the 1 inch you remove at the knee side, you don't have to replace it. All these things I'm teaching you is what I do every day. So I'm in the business, I sew every day. So anything I tell you, just believe it, because that is what I do on a daily basis. Hope that is clear. So we are going to be moving on to the next one. So the next one is from Adedoyin Grace. Thanks for the tutorial, ma. God bless you in Jesus' name. How many inches did you leave as zip allowance? I think the question is divided into 2 parts now. Then after you remove the ½ inch at the waistline, how many inches did you now use to join the zip? All right, so I used 2 inches for my zip allowance, and then at the waistline I remove ½ inch like you rightly said. All right, so the next question is from Taylor. And I think the question she's asking here is similar to what Grace already asked. So we are going to be answering the second part of Grace's question together with this one. So, all right, so I've used my lining to cut out the main fabric. This is the upper part, and then I've also used the lining for the skirt part also to cut out the down part. All right, so we are here now. This is the upper part, and you can see I've sewn in my darts for the both of them. That's the first step. Ensure you sew in your darts. And then this is the skirt part. And as you can see also, I've also sewn in my darts. So the next thing you want to do now is to join the two of them together. That is the lower part and the upper part. So place the upper part on top of the lower part and join them together. And you also repeat the same thing for your lining. Then after that, place the right side of the lining together with the right side of the main fabric. And then you sew the neckline, and then you sew the zip allowance part and also the side seam with 1/2 inch seam allowance. So when you're done, you notch the neckline, and don't forget this thing that I've done on one side, you do it to the second side of the back. You know the back is divided into two, so make sure you repeat the same thing for the second side of the back. Then after that, from the armhole, you bring it to the right side. Then you go ahead and iron before we proceed. All right, so this is the back bodice now. You can see I've used lining to turn it, and I've ironed and pressed it very well, as you can see. So the next thing you want to do is to place the two of them together on top of each other like this. You see the way I've done it. Place them on top of each other, right side to right side like this. Then from the waistline, you measure down 9 inches. Then from that 9 inches, you sew it to where you want your slit to start from. And note, you're going to be sewing it with 1.5 inch. If you remember, I used 2 inches for zip allowance, but then we already used lining to turn the main fabric. We've used 1/2 inch. So it's remaining 1.5 inch now. So you're going to stitch from that point that you mark. You sew with 1.5 inch all the way to where you want your slit to start from. So that is what I'm doing right now. You sew it to where your slit is going to start from, and then when you get to that point, you back stitch, and then you turn the fabric the way I've turned it, and then you sew this way. Can you see? Then after that, the next thing you want to do now is to turn it to the right side. Turn it to the right side this way. Can you see? So when that is done, the next thing is to top stitch on the zip allowance. So you just turn the fabric to the right side the way I've done it, and push the zip allowance towards one side, and then you top stitch on it. So if you turn it back to the wrong side, let me zoom so that you can see what I'm talking about. So can you see? All right, so the next thing now is to attach your zipper. So this is my zipper. I'm just going to go ahead and fix it. My zipper is all fixed. So the next thing you want to do is to join both the front and the back together. So we're going to be doing that now, and this will answer every other person's question as well, because most of the question is all about how did I sew it, you know, what and what and what. Most of them is all about the sewing. So I've gone ahead and I've joined the shoulders together, and I've also fixed the sleeve. So the next thing you want to do now is to close the side of your dress. So from the center back on the zip allowance, you measure the bust circumference divided by 4, and then you put your mark. Then move on to the waistline. From the center again, you measure the waist circumference divided by 4, and then you put the mark there. Then just connect the 2 points together the way I'm showing you now. Then when you are done with that, you move to the hip line. Move to the hip line. From the center again, you measure the hip circumference divided by 4. Then from the waistline, you connect them together. Then again, at the second side, you do the same thing. Put your measurements there and mark it. Do the same thing on the waistline. Put your measurements and mark it. You also do the same for the hip line. Then after that, the next thing is to close the side following your shock. And when you get to the hip line, whatever allowance you have on the hip line, that's what you are going to sew all the way to the hem of the dress. So that's just it. All right, so that's the end of the class for today. And I believe I've answered everybody's question, because majority of the question is about the sewing, and I've shown you people how to do it. Thanks for watching. Please, if you have not subscribed to this channel yet, please kindly subscribe and also hit the notification bell so that you can be notified each time I upload a tutorial. And please kindly like this video, because this helps a lot. So please kindly like it and share with your friends. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.